AJ and Myrisha Campbell were a set of siblings that went missing on September 6, 1958, from Goliad, Texas. Myrisha was 3 years old at the time, 2'6" and 28 pounds. She had blue eyes and strawberry blonde hair, though it is noted that it was a very dark blonde. She was last seen wearing a pink dress with puffed sleeves and a Peter Pan collar, pink socks, and white buckle shoes. AJ, R.G. Jackson Jr., was less than a year old at the time, 2'2" and 25 pounds. He notably had clubbed thumbs and a birthmark on his eyelid and lower lip. He was last seen wearing a blue and white checked shirt with a dark blue collar and yellow diaper. He had blue eyes and strawberry blonde hair, styled as a burr cut. The children lived with their mother, Jewel Bernay Campbell, and on September 6th, their father, AJ Sr., took them for a ride and never returned them. Jewel and AJ Sr. had been married for 8 years before she left him. He was very abusive towards her. They originally lived in Fort Worth, but when they separated, she went to Goliad with the children, taking a teaching job. AJ Sr. had court-ordered visitations with the kids on Saturdays, of which is when they disappeared. He took the children at 9 a.m. and was supposed to bring them back by 3. The car that they were seen in was a 2-door 1956 Chevy Tudor with an unknown VIN. The base body was pink with a charcoal overlay, and license plate number was MA9996. The expiration was dated for 1959. The last person to see the children other than their father was William Randall Jr., an acquaintance of AJ Sr. William Randall stated that he and Sr. picked up the children in Goliad, then drove away in the Chevy. They went through Cuero Gonzalez and stopped along the way to pick up 2 large cans of lard. Once 3 miles or so outside of Goliad, Sr. asked William Randall to stop the car because he wanted to see a friend. Randall stepped out of the car and Sr. drove away with the kids. He returned about 30 to 40 minutes later, and the children were no longer with him. Sr. stated that he went to visit his brother-in-law, but they had a fight, and he left the children with another relative. Sr. seemed nervous and agitated at the time and asked if there was any blood on him, and warned William Randall to tell no one about the fight. Randall and Sr. then drove to San Antonio, then separated. Sr. was supposed to meet Randall at a bus station the next day around midnight to return the car, but he never showed up. William Randall took a bus to Fort Worth and reported his car stolen. The next day, Sr. spoke to a Fort Worth minister on the phone and implied that he killed the children, saying that they were at rest with the world, and that he was going to kill himself. On September 7th, 1958, Sr.'s body was found inside William Randall's car on a rural road outside of Austin, Texas. He had shot himself in the head with a new 16-gauge shotgun, and his death was ruled a suicide. He was buried in Alexander City Cemetery in Alabama. Sr. left a note addressed to Jewel. He stated that he had buried both children and that he loved the children and he loved Jewel and hoped that she would be happy. There was no indication of the children's whereabouts, and no trace of them could be found. Jewel stated, "I don't believe the note at all because it was very difficult for him to tell the truth. I really do feel that they are alive. They may want to find me too. I know that." Sr. was described as a smooth talker when he was alive. A massive manhunt was launched for the children, with news article headlines stating, "Father kills self, 2 tots missing," and a 100-man posse continues search for 2 missing tots. After Senior's death, Jewel remarried and took on the name Robertson, later having more children. Jewel's children, Regina Maynig and Phil Robertson, have kept up the search for their brother and sister, hoping that they can be located. They believe there's a chance that the kids may have been sold to someone and may still be alive somewhere. There are reports that Phil Robertson found info of a man with the same name and birthday as AJ Jr., but there aren't any records of the man past the early to mid-90s. Phil stated, "The problem is that no one knows where this guy is now. We don't know if he's an imposter or stolen identity, or if he is indeed my brother. It leaves the door open that the kids may have not been murdered, that they may still be out there. There's not a day that I don't think of them, of the children. But I try to keep a positive outlook because I know that God has a plan for our lives, and I just have to live by that." In 2013, she passed away at the age of 84. She is buried in the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery in Dallas, Texas. There have been 20 exclusions for AJ and 5 for Myrisha. The only question I have is, did Jewel keep in contact with Senior's family after the children went missing? Nothing ever seems to go over whether if the Campbell family was ever questioned or knew anything. If the children are still alive somewhere, it could be possible that he gave them to someone that they may have taken to Alabama, where he was from. This is only conjecture, and I don't have any leads.